We're continuing this series on looking at some of the reasons people have mentioned for leaving the faith. We're going to respond to those issues and ask people to reconsider. In this episode, I address the circumstances some have mentioned for leaving the church, given that their lifestyle has changed or personal beliefs have changed. Some people may leave the church because their personal beliefs have changed and no longer align with church teachings. I understand these concerns because we do change. Our situations in life changes, and we, maybe rightly, wrongly, we expect people and the church to change with us, to adapt with us. Now, it's tempting to want everyone, including the church, to change and believe what we believe or teach, what we teach. But I think in the back of our minds, we don't want that. We want to be challenged. We know that there's something else. We're being called to something else. And I think in this case, it's good to remember that we are being called back to community. It's not just what I think or what I believe, but we are people created in the image and likeness of God. That is, we're created in a relationship to relate with God and with one another. And so it is really important for us to not to disconnect ourselves from the community, but instead to be engaged, even more so that we can learn from others, we can grow together. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's going to fall into place right away or anything like that, but I think it's good for us to remain engaged with the community because it's there that we find the truth. We find something much greater than ourselves. Sometimes people say to me, I don't get anything out of church. I've stopped going because it's not really fulfilling for me. Well, perhaps here's another way to look at this. Maybe it's not just about you getting something out of church that day, that Sunday, whatever, but perhaps someone is there. Could be a widow, could be someone who just lost someone in death, who really needs to be with the community, who needs to see other people, who needs to have people around her physically, and you're that person that day. You give her hope. So maybe it's not about us kind of going to plug in to receive things from church, but instead all of us coming together to feed one another, to grow together in the truth.